Hi, I'm Ann McCormick, the Herb and Cowgirl. And fall is a wonderful time for those of us that grow herbs because it's the big payoff when we get to harvest our herbs and enjoy the scent and the aroma throughout the coming year. Most people use drying methods to preserve their herbs. That's really more the traditional method. And I've spoken a lot to different people about how to dry herbs and then store them in containers. But I regularly get questions, is there another way? Can I use the freezer? The answer is yes. Here's a couple of ways you can use that wonderful convenience, the freezer. I have here a bowl of basil leaves. These have been recently picked just this morning and removed from the stem. So they're ready to use right away in dishes, but it's more than I can handle it in the home for the moment. So what I'm going to do is freeze them. Now, once you get basil leaves from the garden, you rinse them off and pat them down dry. And if you have a salad spinner, that's also a good thing to use because it'll really spin it well and get the excess moisture off. Then you would take these and lay them on a flat container and put them in the freezer. The leaves themselves are actually very thin, and so they will essentially flash freeze. They'll probably be, in about an hour, they'll be completely frozen. Then you can go back out and gather them up from the tray, put them in a freezer bag, and store them in the freezer for later use within 3 to 4 months. The leaves will eventually get freezer burn, as things do. So I just recommend that within 3 to 4 months, if you can use these, you'll get the fresh aroma and flavor of the basil leaves that you love so much. Another herb that really is good to use that similar method is chives. Now, in the case of chives, you don't keep them together as a one whole leaf. You actually cut them up. Chives is one of the unfortunates in the herb garden that loses a lot of flavor if it's dried. So the best way actually to retain the onion chive flavor is actually to freeze them. So you just get a bunch of chives, a handful, take a pair of scissors, snip, 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 put that in the tray and let it freeze as such. The third method I wanted to tell you about was actually taking these and going another step forward and putting them in a food processor, adding liquid, and processing them until you get something that looks somewhat like this. Little sludgy, if you will, but it's finely chopped basil. Then you pour it into the container. Now I'm going to need to use my fingers to be sure and get enough of the basil because it tends to clump. But you'd pour this and spread it out evenly until it was, completely full. Put this in the freezer and then let it freeze solid. Put it in an airtight container for future use. And there you have freshly chopped basil for the coming year. And that's how you use the freezer to preserve your herbs. For Backyard Basics, I'm Ann McCormick.